Oh, hi, hello. Welcome on my new YouTube channel. So as you can see, I finally did it. I was planning to do it for over a year or even more. And what I'm talking about is this YouTube channel with tips, with some advices on how to light paint the cars. I know there were many of those over YouTube over the years. If you are following me on my Instagram, you know that I've put up my ebook yesterday. Ebook that takes everything that I know about automotive light painting photography. Of course, we are talking about mostly basics for people to start doing it by themselves, or to check their knowledge, or to check my knowledge. Whatever is the reason, you can get this ebook by writing to me, by applying to my newsletter, and I will send it to you. But we will talk more about this at the end of today's video. And now let's focus on the things that we will do on that channel exactly. So this channel is about the things that I do, about the automotive light painting photography, and basically I will be showing you my work here. So kind of a tutorials, kind of interesting videos about what to do with the layers, many layers of the photos that I've been taking over the years. And it's kind of my way of adding some credibility to my Instagram, to my ebook, because sooner or later I will be showing you my first personal course, my first personal workshops on that matter. But more about that also at the end of today's video or on my Instagram, so you can check it out there. And I've been showing you some videos on that channel for all of those 28 subscribers so far, from the things that I've been doing previously, mostly in the last few months, and they were just a short, quick videos on my workflow without any commentary, without talking heads. So I decided it's time to change it a bit, and today I will be doing this first video on some very specific car and very specific place. I won't be getting into any little detail of my work right here in this video. Mostly I will be showing you this process from the start to beginning, not always talking much about what I'm doing. It's more like for you to figure it out for yourself, at least with some of the techniques that I'm using. But don't worry, everything should be quite easy and simple. So I believe we can start. And I will be doing a series of videos because I have lots of material. Actually, not long ago, like a month ago, I was in Slovakia with my friends from Garage Age in the Double Red Cars Museum. It's a very specific place, very lovely place that has around 70 or 80 at least very exotic old cars, very exotic tuned cars from the 80s, from the 90s. It's quite eclectic collection, to be honest, but every time we go there, and it was like fourth time I believe, we get back blown into the pieces by the things that we saw there. So it's not different this time. We've been there for one night, and over that night we make around 40 photos with my colleague Tomek and Patrick, and I've been struggling a bit to take care of them because, you know, Christmas, because December, because depression and so on. And finally I decided that this is a good opportunity to use them as an excuse to record those videos. So this is the first video from that series, but probably I will show you more things from that museum. And today's car will be very specific and very rare and very bizarre, because I believe it might be one of a few in whole Europe, and basically the whole production of that car was not very big. Today we will be working with Mosler, and this is Mosler MT-900 if I'm correct, and it's quite a unique car. I didn't even expect this when I was going there last month, and actually I find out that I fell in love with it. So today, one shot from behind. We will be doing it in Lightroom? Actually no, because I actually done all the necessary things in Lightroom and I've sent all those photos into the Photoshop. So we will be focusing mostly on Photoshop today, and I will show you the final photo at the end, of course. So I know that this intro was quite long, but now I believe we can start and just try to follow along. So we are jumping to a Photoshop, and as you can see I have all those layers already here. It's 12 photos. They are after a small corrections in a Lightroom. It's not the corrections, it's some exposure tweaks, but each and every one of them is with exactly the same preset. So just to bump highlights a bit and bump a color a bit, because the most of the editing I will be doing afterwards, after I finish this Photoshop part, and then I will send this complete photo into the Lightroom once again, and then I will edit it a bit more. So this is how I do it. Okay, so what we need to do first. First of all, I always do this layer, the first layer, with some ambient. So those are mostly dark photos with some additional lights from beyond the frame or from some light sources in the frame. As you can see, those exit emergency lights from those signs in the museum, some light going through the windows, and that's it. But this is always a nice base for me to work with adding another layers, because then I have a full control of each and every light that I will put into this combined photo. This will be my basic layer and I always mark it as green. All right, and now I will check those photos that I did there with those few passes. So you have to know that normally when we are doing some Garage Age sessions, or I'm doing some sessions for my other clients, I take like 20, even 30 photos. It depends, but usually it's closer to 20, and I usually stick to this amount. But in this museum, in the Double Red Cars Museum, over that night, we knew that we have at least 10 cars to shoot, and we are planning to take at least 2 to 3 photos for each one of them. So it gives us roughly 30 photos, I'm sorry. And finally it came to be around 37, I believe. So if you've ever take a light painting session with a car, you know that to light paint it in the spot, working with the car and the light, it is at least, of course for me, because I'm doing it like 7th year in a row, 15 to 20 minutes at least for one car. So we had to be very quick with those photos. So I decided that I will go with a smaller amount of layers of the light on the car and in the surroundings, because I usually do car and the kind of ambient light, and I'm lighting the scene from the different directions. I'm adding some interesting features with the light, not only on the car but also in the space that we are shooting. So to make it quicker, to make it faster that night, so I was trying to take not as much photos as usually, so it's around 10 to 12. So there will be places where I'll be editing those photos and there will be some kind of tweaking, maybe, I don't know. I didn't look through all those layers recently. I believe that it's gonna be fine, but sometimes maybe we'll need to add something extra to those photos that wasn't there actually, but we'll see. So again, let's jump into it. We have our basic layer, the green one, and I will take this one. And as you can see, for the first shot I was going with the light from left to right, and to be honest, it looks very, very nice. This layer is quite clean, and not much to edit out, of course, except for this light streak on the top and my feet. But car overall is very clean without any light leaks. Maybe something is here, but it's quite easy to remove. So what I will do with that layer is I'm gonna select it. I will add a new layer mask. As you can see, it's already here, and I will invert it. So I will press Ctrl I and everything disappeared. The mask layer is black. So now to paint it in from that photo, I will need to take a brush with and I will just paint over the car. Of course, I cannot see it very well, so I will just paint it like this, and then I will remove the excess of that frame. I'm not doing this masking whole car with the pen tool and adding just another layers, because sometimes I feel it's killing some ambient and additional lights that might be useful for the car that are, or for the whole scene. And that with the pen tool, I'm just limiting myself to those lights on the car. So for now, I'm doing it like this, just to have a closer look at where the car is. And after this first layer, of course, it don't need to be so precise for now, and we'll see why, but just like this for now, because on this dark first layer, the green one actually, and the second one with some car visible, I will add some additional scenes, additional layers with the light that is not directly on the car, because I want to create this scene around the car. So I have a few of those shots. One is here, one is here, maybe one is here and here. So 4 shots of ambient actually. I will take them all above the first photo. I forget to tell you to change the opacity for lightning mode over here on this first photo, first above the green. So let's do it. And why I did it, I will explain in my course, but for the people who already did that, did some light painting, I believe you know why I did that. And now I will turn on another layer. And as you can see, this layer contains of the light coming from here. There is this lovely Jaguar XJS Monaco over here with V12 engine. But of course it's not important, but just as a simple fact, I had to state it. But again, I will change the opacity of that photo into the lit-in mode. And as you can see, now I have my car from my previous layer, and all the lights that are brighter than everything on that layer and the layer below the green one. So now I'm creating this kind of a scene with additional light, not only on the car but also around the car. And as you can see, with this particular layer, some things appeared on the car, so some light streaks over here, but I really enjoyed this light on the top of the tire here and there. As you can see, it adds this nice light that detaches the wheels from the ground. So let's leave it like this for now. Let's get a look at another layer. So this layer is lit in from that side. And again, I have to change the opacity mode to lit-in. And as you can see now, I have additional lights over here, and they look very good. Of course, I will remove this part. But as you can see, it automatically removes these things that I didn't remove earlier on this first layer. Let's call it first layer, or the back one. So I don't have to do it because the light on that layer is stronger than the things that I've left there, and it mixes very nicely with the rest of the car. So I don't have to do it as precise as I used to do it a few years back. So of course we need to remove that part of the light over here. So I will create the mask and I will remove it, but with the opacity 100. And now the question is, because I really like the light on that beam over here and here, of course I can remove this part in between those beams and above the car, but the question is, will it look nice? And This is something that I always ask myself when I'm doing the shots. It's not that I've planned something and I've decided upon taking the photo that this or that part will stay. I'm just testing things. So it's not like I see it all. I'm just testing things while I'm editing it. So it's a bit dark, but we might have other layers that might be useful for brightening up this section. And the question is, do I really want to have this 9 to 8 very weird looking car, sorry, not that, very weird looking tuned 9 to 8 that is one of the widest tuned 9 to 8 ever built, as the owner told us. It adds some kind of a depth to this photo, but not quite sure if I want it. Okay, let's leave it for now. We will decide later. Maybe we will remove this part. No, because this is the other section. Okay, so as you can see, we have quite nice ground around the car. The lights that create this kind of ambient light around the car looks very nice. The floor is made out of concrete, so it reflects nice lights, and it starts to look quite okay. Actually, I would leave it like this, because it doesn't have too much light on the car. Those light leaks, or as we can say, those directional lights create this nice scene. In some cases, I like to leave it just like this, but for the purpose of this video, we'll go even further. So let's check another layer, and as you can see, another ambient layer is going directly from behind the car, so it adds this little light into this section. I will turn it off. I will turn it on actually, and I will put it into lighten or litten, I don't know. And as you can see, when I'm turning it off and turning it on, it gives us this light inside of that region that I told you, this area that I didn't like so dark before. But what I don't like with this layer is that it also casts a light on this part of the car and this part of the Mosler. So what I will do, I will just add a mask. I will turn it, invert it into a black mask, and again I will take a brush and I will just paint in this section here, just to brighten up those regions behind the car that I felt were a bit too dark with this part removed. So just like this, it looks fine. Alright, and another ambient layer, something like this. Maybe this was some kind of a test shot. Nothing particular interesting in that photo, so I will just take it to the bottom of our layers. And I believe with those 3 shots, I have this basic light mood scene around the car done. Of course, maybe we'll do some tweaking at the end, but for now, I believe it's fine. So let's take another look on those layers that are casting light directly to the car. So those ambient layers, we can create a group. So another layer. What do we have here? We have a very nice side of the car with this light strip that will be quite easy to remove. So yeah, I believe this will be the second shot that will be just enough to have a nice photo of that Mosler. So the layer is on. The opacity is changed to litten. We will add a mask. We will invert it, and we will take a brush, and we will brush in only those parts that I want from that particular photo. So just the body and the wheels of the car without any additional ground and whatsoever. That's why I'm removing everything and I'm just painting in the things that I know I want to be them to be in the photo. So quite easy process to work with. All right, and basically that's it. So as you can see now, this side of the car is much more even in the matter of light, but we will see what else can we get from those photos that are left. All right, so let's call it side 1. What do we have here? Here we have another photo of the side, but with the light lower on the car. I usually do that to add more light into the rims, into the wheels of the cars, because most of those cars have quite interesting rims, and I just like rims, so I want to have them quite visible and quite strong in my photos. Because now, as you can see, without this layer, they are fine, but with this might be even too much, but then we will change the opacity. But I want to paint in those wheels into that photo. So again, layer mask, invert, and now the brush, and just paint what I'm doing. Okay, paint in the light over the wheels. So like this, maybe even on the whole side of the car. Of course, it's not changing to lit mode. I don't know why. Now it looks fine. Okay. As I told you, I always decide on the things that will be in the photo while I'm editing it, so no surprise there. Yeah, I believe, or maybe it's too strong. Let's remove this layer, delete layer mask, add it once again, add the wheels only, as previously, okay. Without those sections over here, just the wheels. Right, like this. Yeah, I think this will be the balance between the side and the back will be much nicer. So I will leave it like this, and maybe I will turn down this opacity of only this layer with the rims just a bit, not too much, because we've added it for a purpose. But it was like this, and now it's like this. Yeah, I believe this is fine. So let's leave it like this. So basically from this whole layer we took only the rims, as you can see. Okay, another back. And yeah, let's turn the opacity into litten. And now I will turn it off and on to see what it gives me. And actually it gives me few things that I like, few that I don't, but I think that I will take those parts that gives me this light into this black panel around the rear lights, and maybe on the rear diffuser, but not necessarily on this bumper. So as you can see, the bumper is getting brighter. This bumper, I don't know if it's a bumper, this red part of the car at the back. And are we still recording? Yeah. And yeah, then of course we will be forced to remove those light streaks from between those lights, but well, I believe it's worth it. So again, layer, invert, brush, and I will brush in those black parts. I'm doing those straight lines with shift, so I press, I dab the brush once in one place, then I hold shift and dab in the second place. I will show it to you right here. So I dab here, I press shift on my keyboard, and then I dab again, and I have a nice straight line. So if you don't know it, you might use it. So this is the one thing. Okay, and now I will take some details from that diffuser, from that layer into that diffuser, and I believe it might be quite okay. So without it and with, yeah, it looks better. And what's with this? You know what? I will add just a tad of that light. Maybe here we will take all of it on the top. This is something we want to remove. But here I will change the opacity of my brush to the level of, let's say, 30. I will create a very big soft brush, and I will take just this small smidge of the of the brush, not through the center of it, but like here on the bottom. So this soft brush, this part of this brush will just add some of that light to that bumper, to that part. This we will remove. No, not like this. Once again. Okay, we will take this brush and we will do it like this. Okay, opacity 100. Let's remove everything that we don't want to have from that layer over here. And I believe now it's fine. It's not too heavy on that red color below that black bar, but without it, it's fine. Okay, so we have this layer. Let's go to another layer. What do we have here? We have a layer for the roof, for those scoops of air vents or whatever that is on the back of the car. I don't know if we need it because it looks quite fine, but let's add it and let's decide. So from the normal to little mode in opacity, one thing that I want from that layer is the side mirror. As you can see, it adds the whole curvature of that mirror into that mirror, the whole color around the mirror. So this is something that I want. I don't like those reflections on the bottom of the spoiler, of course, and I'm not quite sure do I really need those lights, those reflections. I like this part over here on the roof, so those kind of a contrasting lights on the top. So maybe I will use just this and the mirror. So again, layer, invert, white brush, and let's add it like this. Here the light streaks are starting, so no, just like this. Yeah, this is fine. No, I don't want that. So let's leave it like this. So again, as you can see, not much from that whole mask was taken. So the whole mask looked like this, whole layer looked like this, and I just took those few little things. So that's how I do it. All right. Here's something that I want to remove. Some kind of a light streak that I'll be removing anyway later. So if I can do it right now, let's do it. Another layer at the top. All right. Quite similar to one that we had already, but let's change it and let's decide if we want that. What it gives us? It gives us some additional light on the roof of the car, on the side. Maybe I would like to add some of those lights, especially in those areas at the back and here. So I will take another layer, I will invert it, and I will just paint in those regions. So as you can see, there is this line going through the whole body of the car. I will paint in just below that line to add some light, and somewhere around here and a bit more on the roof, or maybe not. It's getting too bright. Now let's add it, but let's then remove it with softer and smaller opacity of the brush. Yeah, like this. So it adds a bit of the light, but yeah, this is fine. Okay, and another layer. I don't know where we stopped, so I assume that somehow we finished with the last photo, and now we are with another layer. As you can see, it's lit from below, and I tend to do that very often just to add some reflections into the windows, because I really don't like a thing that many photographers do, where they are turning all those all those windows in the cars into a black made with some kind of light streak or this gradient of a brighter light, brighter color, to create this kind of illusion of a reflection, some kind of a reflection. I really don't like that. Sometimes, but very rarely, I do that in some projects if they need that. But if I can, I usually try to create this natural reflection of the surroundings of that car, because for me it looks better. But in this particular shot, I believe we have it much better from the light with this angle. So as you can see here, we have this cage and the small window of the car, that it looks much better on the car than this light from below. And I will leave it for now, but usually if I need some reflections, I do it like this. So I light the car from below. If I have something to reflect on, then this will be a reflection in my window, in my photo of the window of the car in the car. Yeah. So, except for that, do I need this layer? Let's turn it into lighten mode again and just turn it off and on. Of course, it's evening the red color on the side of the car. It gives us some additional light streaks that we'll have to remove later, but basically it kills the mood of that side, so I don't want that. Again, I'm looking at the light above the car, because maybe something will be needed for this for the ambient in the photo, and actually there is. Again, we are getting back to this area. As you can see, it evens out those deep shadows over there. Those light directions are mixing a bit in this particular photo for now. So with that additional light coming from here into just those beams in the back of the museum, I believe it will look slightly better. Of course, we'll change the opacity, but I believe I need that. So mask, invert, and I will paint it into the photo like that. Okay. So as you can see now, it's getting brighter, but not too bright. So there's a streak that I don't want. And yeah, this is fine, but I will change the opacity just to leave some, because now we have no light at all, so those shadows are pretty deep. Now we have only the light from that layer and the shadows are disappearing. I want something in between, so I want those shadows to be there, but just not as hard and harsh and deep and dark and full of sorrow and pain. Just like, yeah, something like this. And please mind that I'm doing it in a quite shitty conditions, because this big light is lighting into my eyes directly, so I might see things slightly different that I used to when I'm doing it without this big light on my left. But I think it's fine for now. Then I will check it, or I will do it again better, but not while recording it. So yeah, no, of course I'm kidding. This is what you will get on my Instagram. And Garage Age profile. And the last layer, so the one that we disclosed at the beginning, and I believe we don't need it. I will put it into lighten mode and change those. Yeah, you know what? We don't need it. It looks fine without it, so let's remove it. Okay. So as you can see, 3 layers for ambient and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers for the car. But to be honest, just 3, because this is the one, back one, side one, and here's the additional part with the light on the back of the car. Okay, I see what we will remove in a second. So the car itself is made out of mostly only 3 layers. So if they are done properly, you don't need to go and light don't know how many layers. When I was talking about 20 to 30 layers with other cars in other conditions, in other places, those 20 to 30 layers, this is my safety zone, and some will to experiment with the lights. So I tend to light more on the outside of the car, some ambient, some additional lights, some you know, some particular elements of the car just to make it pop a little better. But for this very, very basic work, 3 are just fine. Of course, if I would have this Mosler in some other place and I would have lots of time, I will do something probably better, but there will be a lot more layers than this. But again, for such a heavy night, many shots ahead of us, I believe this is fine. So now I will just clean it and I will show you the final version. And the cleaning is quite tiring and we will be doing it in some other video. So now I will turn it off, I mean the recording, and I will do it in a fast pace. You will see it. And then I will show it to you at the end what I just did. And I will show you the cleaning process of other car light streaks and stuff like this on some other examples. So this video won't be too long because it's already probably like an hour. So yeah, see you in a few minutes. Short addition to the things that you just saw. First of all, after I've cleaned up all my layers, and I mean some, you saw it, some additional shades or brighter spots to remove, something on the body of the car that is a reflection of some other light that doesn't matter in the fact of the consistency of the body paint. Those things I remove on the layers themselves, and then I've created a whole copy, the copy of all of those layers, and I merge them into one photo. Then I create one more copy of that photo. So as you can see, the one is green and another one is the same, actually the same copy of that photo, but I will be working more on that. So the green one is just as a backup. And what is also important, at that moment of my work, I save my project because, well, we work in Adobe environment, and if you work for many years, just like me, you know that they tend to crash. Usually a Premiere Pro, but Adobe Photoshop tends to make some crazy shit. So I will save now, and then I will proceed with the cleaning all those light streaks and things that I don't want on my photo, but on the one photo that is already merged from all the layers. So save it, and probably, not probably, I'm pretty sure it will be a PSB or PBS, PSB, Photoshop large format. I don't remember the letters, but basically you can see that when I'm saving it, save as, I will save it as a default. Those photos want to be saved as a TIFF files, but because I'm working on the raw files here in Photoshop, which might surprise you, I know, but we will talk about it later on some other video. I will have to save it as PSB large document format. So those photos that are heavier than 4 gigabytes will be saved as PSB, and I assure you that those layers combined will weigh much more than 4 gigabytes. So I always save it as a large document format, and of course then when I finish in Lightroom I will save it as a JPEG with high resolution and with higher bitrate, and I will remove those PSB files, but for the process I need them to be saved just like this, because if I messed up something and I will spot it on the level of Lightroom, I can always get back and all my layers will be saved as they are right now. So let's save it. And then I'm getting back to another portion of cleaning that car, and then I will talk to you some more. So, as you can see, that's it with that picture, with that photo, with that beautiful Mosler. And if you were following things that I've been doing in this cleaning part, you've probably noticed that I've used lots of different, maybe not lots, but few different tools to remove different things on the body of the car and in the surroundings. You've probably seen that I've used the generative fill, I've used stamp tool, I used the stamp clone tool, actually I've used content aware fill, I've used patch tool, and so on and so on. And those are all the tools that I've been using. It's not like I've been using all of them to to fool you, to feel that, that's how I will misguide you. No, I usually use all of them all together, because there is no one perfect tool for that matter, because different surfaces, different things in the photo needs different approach. And with that said, I've used, for example, a generative fill tool, because it gives me this quick look into how it should probably look. In many cases it's very easy and it's very helpful, but because it's a generated by AI, with a closer look you can see that it leaves this kind of artifacts on the surface of everything that is generated by the generative fill tool. So then you will have to hide it. You have to, for example, use a brush tool to make it look smooth and then add some kind of a grain to, to even it out. So there isn't one tool that will take care of everything, because all of them have some disadvantages, but mixed together they can give you a very powerful way to work. It has no sense, but I believe you know what I mean. So I will take it to Lightroom. In a few seconds I will make some additional tweaks there, and you will see the final photo at the end of this video, which is very long so far, so I will be finishing it. And I will be covering all those different topics about cleaning those photos, about well, everything that you saw, and I haven't spoke about it, but in the future, in the different videos. So you will spin my wheel of subscribers and views. Of course, I'm kidding, but it will be nice. And you will have a closer look in each and every tool that I've been using on those photos on this session from DRCM, so Double Red Cars Museum, or different ones, we'll see. But for now, for today, it's basically over. Once again, I'm reminding you that my ebook is out, so if you will somehow find my Instagram account, then there is a way for you to join my newsletter, and as a thank you gift I will send you my ebook with basics, total basics of how to create a light painting session with the car. So for many of you it's probably obvious, but for some it might help you to start with your own work. So check it out, send your email to me, I will give you this ebook for free, and I believe we will see each other in the next video, because my battery in the camera is blinking red. So thank you for today and see you in the next video. Bye!